which isn't always a bad thing, and that's just because you handled it like a business should handle it. Mm-hmm. Then I think there's other situations where sometimes the situation was so bad, and then the brand handled it in such a compelling way that then others see that, and, the writers and the bloggers and the journalists, they actually go write how positive it was, the way that they responded to that. Mm-hmm. And so regardless, you don't want anyone to be writing about you and how terrible you responded. It's bad enough the situation happened, and your second goal, after it's happened, the first goal is to be able to reply and communicate the best that you possibly can. Your second goal is to not make another news situation because of the way you handled it.
Excellent. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Very good. Well, I want to continue on with this business is getting real theme and switch to a little bit of social relationships and the ways, a proactive way that businesses can, build social relationship and engage. And one of the things that we can talk about is chats and Twitter chats in particular. I know that's one of the ways I've gotten to know you better was through a tweet chat that you host called Get Real Chat. So why don't you say a little bit more about that, Twitter chats in general, and the potential for that to have to help companies, for a business to do that?
So, let me start out by talking about communities. And then what I want to do is actually share a little bit about tweet chats, because I think they can be very powerful for small and large business. So and I've written quite a bit about this. I have a blog post. You could probably do a search online for communities, create markets. And then I have 13 tips to build loyal tribes of brand evangelists. And basically, when people and brands hop online, they are hoping that instantaneously overnight they're going to have this awesome community filled with loyal brand evangelists that are going to want to give them their credit card, right? That's what everybody hopes. They have this false belief that that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. The truth is it takes time and it takes investment in relationships and in the people within communities. And so, patience, I think, is one of the hardest things that brands are struggling with when it comes to building online communities. And so I have this graph that, imagine a cone. It's like a triangle that's on its side. And on the left side is the fat end of the triangle. And that's where we have the opportunity zone. And so as we are building these communities, it may be on Facebook, it may be on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on your blog, Facebook. As we're starting these communities, that's where we have the community and the opportunity zone. So we have an opportunity to create a relationship with the people within that community. Now, as we move to the right of this, and remember we're in the middle of a triangle, we move to the right, that we're going to the tip of the triangle. That's where we actually have the customer zone. And so it's a smaller set of customers. There's opportunity for those relationships, the mass communities that are on the left side, to actually come to fruition and become loyal brand evangelists and customers, okay? And how you move them from the left to the right, so how you get them to become loyal brand evangelists, takes time, it takes investment in them, and it takes, quality content and relationship building over months, not days and weeks, being completely honest. That is not going to happen in a week's time frame. We're talking months and years that it's going to take you to build those relationships, just the same you would if you were offline, right? You're not going to go host a party in your, restaurant or your brick and mortar business or wherever it may be, and all of a sudden everybody that shows up to your grand launch party is now your trusted loyal brand evangelist and, your paying customer. Those relationships take time. And so some of the ways that you can use social to foster that deeper communication are, one term that we use is the OPC. So it's other people's communities. Mm-hmm. And so it's tapping into the power of the multiple, micro and macro communities that exist out there. So that can happen on Facebook. That can happen on LinkedIn, tapping into a LinkedIn group, for example, that you may not be the owner of that group. You will have different roles within social where you may be a follower, and you may have other roles where you may be a leader. And so you want to tap into, the other people's communities as a follower where you are providing valuable information. You are just engaging in an authentic way to nurture relationships, meet people, and hopefully grow your life and your business. Now, when we start to talk about then really fostering our own communities, one example is using the power of Twitter. And Twitter is just, if you're listening to this and you are not on Twitter, I'm telling you, it's one of the most powerful social networks there is that can literally change your business if you are integrating it properly. It's not a good standalone. You're not just going to become rich and famous and, solve all life's problems because you're on Twitter. But if you integrate it into your marketing and social business plan in a tactical yet strategic way, it's very powerful. Now, we host a weekly Twitter Get Real chat every Tuesday. That started about 2 years ago, and we literally did it as a science and art project to see where we could take it. And we started off with Getting Real, and it's called Get Real Chat. It's every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Mm-hmm. We started it to really help people. So when we talk about goal-driven, our goal was really to share our knowledge and what we had learned with other people, because we knew there were a ton of questions at the time around things like authenticity and transparency and building online personas. What do I communicate about on these social networks? And questions that every person that jumps on the social networks have. And so we get real on those topics. We don't sugarcoat it. We try to tear back the layers of the onion and help people truly grow. And so over the course of the last, I guess it's been 2.5 years now, we have now grown a community. We get between minimum 20 and 30 million impressions every Tuesday night. We have now moved that also to, we've just recently launched a Get Real Chat radio show. And we have had, the likes of some very large brands, be part of our guest community. They've contacted us saying, how can we partner with you? How can we work with you to be part of your community? And, we would like to add valuable content to your community. And they see the value in where we're becoming what I talked about, the OPC. We're able to be that to many other brands, people, and organizations. Okay. And yeah. And through that, I can just tell you we have earned, the business from multiple organizations. The Get Real Chat is now a sponsored event very often, fully monetized. But yet at the same time, we are also providing free information 24 hours a day via that hashtag. Mm-hmm. And so our core goal at the start of it and still is to still serve the community.
Okay. So that's the big end of the funnel. There is serving the community that way and interacting, which has ultimately helped you and others grow business out of that. Is that the concept?
Yeah. And the relationships that have come out of that have just been amazing. And we're now, there's numerous people we're talking to. We're looking at hosting an event. Everybody wants to do it in the Bahamas. We have some contacts there. We're looking at very soon having an offline Get Real event offline. And, we've launched the Get Real Chat blog now that is, going to host all kinds of these things. And then we are actually launching a site called Yacker, which is going to bring together other hosts and help them do the same thing. So we're going to bring together the hosts, the brands that want to sponsor them, and the communities that want to participate in them. Because there are a ton of people like you out there who are, providing amazing content to your audiences. You're doing podcasts. I know, Mike, you do a lot of awesome Facebook webinars and that type of thing. And there's other people who are doing tweet chat communities, Google Hangouts. And what we're going to be doing is helping bridge that gap and bring them together with the brands that want to sponsor them and help them monetize their the work that they do, on a daily basis, while at the same time still be able to serve those communities in a very authentic way.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Well, Pam, my final question as we kind of wrap up here and talk about businesses getting real is what counsel, what tips would you have to offer small, medium-sized businesses for, first steps or next steps for them in, getting their business real in this social age?
I would say the number one thing is to know your audience. And we actually have a worksheet you can download. We leverage the Forrester Post methodology, and it basically is people, objectives, strategy, and tactics. And where everybody starts is with the tactics and the technology. And so number one, I would say in order to get real, you have to know who you are and you have to know who your audience is, right? And so first off, pick 3 top audiences. Who are they? And how can you serve them, right? And figure out how can you provide them value on a daily basis, leveraging social media. What is it they need and want from you? And then, next I would say just make sure that you are goal and objective driven, which we talked about, plan your work and work your plan. Mm-hmm. And truly take the time to slow down, to speed up, and figure out what are you doing, where are you going, and, how are you going to get there is the last part. You need to know why you're going there is the most important. And then third, I would say, is to focus on what we call the heartbeat of social media, which is the people, and at the end of the day, if you are inspiring your audiences to connect with you with a goal of helping them achieve their goals, then you are going to achieve your goals by default. And so it is inspire, connect, achieve. And, at the end of the day, you can never go wrong by investing in communities and the people within them.
Awesome. All right. And well, I want to say thanks, Pam, for being with us here. And to the audience, we're going to make sure we get the links and the downloads that Pam mentioned. That's going to be all part of the podcast blog post here, and you'll be able to find that at halftimemike.com. And the details will be going out about that. But if you come to halftimemike.com, search for Pam Moore, you'll be able to find this podcast, and we'll include those links there. Again, thanks, Pam, for being with us.
You're very welcome. It was truly my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. And so to the audience, thank you for being with us here today. Well, I look forward to next time on the Halftime Mike podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Halftime Mike podcast with Mike Gingrich. Remember, what you do in the second half can change the outcome of the game. Does your business need resourcing, tools, and social media consulting? Then visit MikeGingrich.com. Want to have Mike speak at your next event? Visit MikeGingrich.com/speaking. Join us again for another episode of Halftime Mike, your no-nonsense guide to victory on the court of life.